What's up, YouTube? This is an update video, man. On the last video I put up about the doser valve and the DF filter. So what really went on is I got a couple codes. I forgot to put them in the last video, but I'm gonna put them in this video. But I got a couple codes. One was for the DEF actuator, the DEF fuel actuator, and the other one was for the DEF doser valve, right? So this is, it's kind of hard for you to see it. This is a silver block right here. This is going to be your DEF actuator. Now, to my knowledge, I thought that that controls the actual DEF fluid, but it doesn't. My mechanic told me that no DEF fluid runs around the engine. All the DEF fluid is back behind where the DEF tank is, or where the doser valve goes into the SCR. So that has nothing to do with the DEF, but there are fluid lines going to it that look like they go to the fuel line. So all this stuff up under here is fuel lines, right? So that all that ties up into there. So you have two bolts that hold that on. They're 10mm bolts, and then you have a 15mm bolt on one side to get that fuel line off, and you have 13 and 14mm on this other side to get those two fuel lines off. And once I changed that, because I did everything I did before, because I never changed the DEF fuel filter, and so I changed that because it gave me a code for that as well. So I changed that filter. Then I pulled off my DEF doser valve, because it gave, after I changed the filter, it went from giving me the DEF actuator code to the DEF doser valve code. So I pulled off the DEF doser valve, and it was crudted with DEF fuel. It was caked up. So I swapped out the DEF doser valve again, and I swapped it out about 8 months ago in the previous video. So I swapped it out again, and everything was fine for like a day or two, and then they gave me the code again for the DEF actuator. So I went back and I swapped out the DEF actuator, went in, cleaned the DEF doser because it caked up again. So what I'm assuming happens, because you can't really, nobody can really pinpoint what goes on with these after treatment systems. You know, they can't do it at dealer, because the dealer will tell you, you know, if this failed, check this. If that failed, check that. So all they do is throw parts at it as well, and it costs you thousands of dollars. So if you're going to throw parts at yourself if you're mechanically inclined. So when it gave me that code for the DEF doser valve, I cleaned it off, I put it back in, and because I'd already swapped the DEF actuator out, and when I cleaned the DEF filter, put it back in. And I don't know how this, there's no science to it, because everybody says you steaming, you do this, that, and third. I didn't do that. What I did was I boiled some hot water on the stove, and I stuck the tip of it in the water, and that evidently did the trick, because 4,000 miles later, I haven't had any more codes. So I believe that we've got it, that we locked it in, and we got everything squared away as far as the after treatment system, because I ran about 4,000 miles since I fixed everything. No more codes. My fuel mileage is back up to it, because when all that stuff went bad, because that's how you know your after treatment is going bad. You start losing fuel mileage and you start burning DEF fluid. Those are first signs of anything in your after treatment going bad. So now that I fixed those things, my MPGs is back up to about 8.5, 9 miles per gallon. You know, depending on the weight. And my DEF, I'm getting about 3,500 miles, almost 4,000 miles out of tank of DEF. So we're back where we need to be at, which actually the DEF usage is better than it's been since I've had the truck. And I've had the truck, you know, 4 years. So I'm up here now. I'm getting unloaded in Dirty Jers, but I just want to give you guys an update on what was going on with that, because even though everything in the last video I need to do anyway, that didn't solve the problem, because the light came on like 2 days later. So I went back in at it. So just go back through this again. For those of you that are mechanically inclined, right? Yes, I threw parts at it, because my scanner tool gave me different codes for different things. So I actually had this code, I had that first. but I took it because the lady at the dealer said, hey, you need to get this, and I never understood that it needed to be replaced. So I thought that was the I thought I needed to replace the depth doser. So I got a depth doser, took it back. No, I bought that, took it back, got a depth doser, then I ended up having to buy that again anyway, right? So, but my point is this: when you go to these dealerships, they charge you a rack of money. So and mind you, I also changed out the inlet and the outlet knock sensors too. Those were about $500. 400 and some change at Fleet Pride when you got an account. They're about 5 and some change at a dealership plus the core. So if you don't have a core, it's going to be about $700, $800, right? So let me give you a little bit of game. Let me give you a little game. When you take, let's say you go to a dealership to get the knock sensor changed, right? The dealership is going to charge you for the knock sensor, and they're going to charge you labor. So to get one knock sensor change, it's going to cost you about $1,600, $1,700 at best. Now what they do is they are the dealers. So when the shop goes to get the part from service, because the shop, when you go to a dealership, the shop, the service, and sales, as far as the trucks, are 3 different departments, right? So when you put your truck in a dealership to go to the shop then has to buy your part from the the service had to buy the part from the shop, or the parts department, right? So but the parts department sells the service department the cost, the parts, I'm sorry, I can't even talk this morning. The parts department sells service the part at cost, right? So when you go into the dealership and you buy a part, and the service department buys the part from the parts department, then if the part is listed at $700, that's what the shop pays for the part, and they charge you that for the part, right? But however, if you go into the parts department and buy a part, then the dealership will usually work with you through discounts. If you have a discount, if you have an account there, so you a part that might list for $900, you might go in there and the parts department give it to you for $500, right? So that's where you lose money, by putting your truck in the shop to have them find out what's wrong with it. So when you put that knock sensor, when they put the knock sensor on it, they upcharge you for it, and that's not that. That's, oh well, you need to replace the outlet knock sensor, but it's actually inlet knock sensor. So then they tell you that we need to do an SPN on that, and you tell them, hey, go ahead and replace the inlet knock sensor, and they replace that too. And then something else fails, they're going to tell you that their inlet knock sensor was bad as well, and you need to replace the doser valve. So the next thing you know, you replace the inlet knock sensor, outlet knock sensor, doser valve, and this actuator, and you spent $6,000. When you could, I changed out the inlet, the outlet, the doser valve, and the actuator for less than $2 grand, and I did it myself. So if you're gonna throw parts at it to figure out what's going on, I would throw parts at it yourself, because you can either get them from the dealer or you can get them from outsourcers like Fleet Pride, places that you have connects with, and you might get if you got the part number, get the parts offline, and you can get the parts a whole lot cheaper. And if you could do it yourself, that saves you a lot of money. So for what it would have cost me to change out one knock sensor at the dealership, I changed out every sensor on my DEF system for $2,000. You see what I'm saying? So, and I had my filter clean last year, and I don't out of my trucks. My filter is still like 22% soot level, so I don't anticipate having to clean my filters in a while. And I'm glad that everything is starting to work out, because if it didn't work out, then I was going to delete the truck. But I like to run Cali every now and then. So I didn't really want to delete the truck, right? But I would have, rather than just keep spending money. So I think I got it dialed in. Only thing I got to do now is get my clutch fixed. I got brakes all the way around. Brakes all the way around, and drums. I did drums up here as well, and I got brakes all on the trailer, all the way around the trailer, and I got brakes on the axle and wheel seals on the axle. So you know, engine was rebuilt last year at 800 some thousand miles. Well, actually about 2 years and a half ago now, 800 some thousand miles. and the rear end was rebuilt. So the truck is ready to rock and roll, man. The truck is ready to get some money. So we out here, and I just want to give you guys an update. I'm gonna put the codes up again so you can see what codes it was. And if you have any issues, any questions, I'm not really on this channel that much because you can only log into one channel, and I really be on my car page, PNC TV 2017, for all your car content. But this truck stuff, hit me on IG at TCJ Transportation LLC. And if you have a question, or because I'm not on here a lot, and I'll try to answer your question to give you the best insight I possibly can. I'm not a certified mechanic. I just know how to fix things. I just figure it out, you know, because in my experience with trucking, it has cost. I have saved myself so much money by doing all the stuff that I can do myself. I've swapped this line out. I've changed the power steering pump. It's a filter goes in here. I put the starter body on. I swapped out the coolant reservoir. I mean, hey, I do it. You feel me? So, yeah, that's the only way you can do it, man, because we're not going to make more money out here, right? The rates are going to be what the rates are. The rates are going to rate. You know what I mean? So we're not going to make more money. So the best thing you could do is figure out how to save money. Run your lanes that have the best fuel, the fuel prices. You know, try to stay light on your loads. And just keep it moving, and just try not to spend money where you don't have to spend money. That's it. You know, tires, find your spot where you can get some tires. It's about these tires. I got my money out of these tires. I had these tires about 3 years, 3.5 years, good year. But I paid about $600 a tire. Just bought these tires, hit me for $300 a tire. Now I'm gonna see how long they last. I had them for about 3 months now. I'm gonna see how long they last. But it's not about how much you make at this point of the game. It's about what you spend. So if you can cut on your spending, then you can cut on a lot of yours, and your savings equate to profit. So that's it for now. I'm gonna holler at you guys. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate the support. We out.